I honestly never thought a climbing game could hook me this much, but Jusant just hits different. It's kinda hard to explain exactly why, but there's something incredibly peaceful about this game. Maybe it's the subtle sound of wind blowing past you, or those quiet moments as you look out over the dried out seabed. But when you play this game, you're truly present in the moment. You're totally alone, but somehow it never feels lonely. Just calming, relaxing, almost therapeutic. You're dropped straight into this mysterious world without any explanation. You're climbing a huge tower that stretches endlessly upward, and you've got this cute little companion guiding the way. The game slowly features bits of lore through notes you pick up along your climb, piecing together a story that makes each step upward feel more meaningful. It's also a game that really rewards patience. If you're looking for constant action or that fast-paced, hit after hit kind of experience, this probably won't be satisfying. It doesn't bombard you with cutscenes or dopamine hits every few minutes. Instead, it asks you to slow down, to notice the little things. And if you can meet it on those terms, it gives you something really special in return. So once you start climbing, the first thing that really sinks in is just how much care went into building this world. Visually, it's stunning, but not in an overproduced, hyper-realistic kind of way. It's beautiful because it feels handcrafted. Every rock face, every canyon, every abandoned ruin feels like it's been placed with purpose. The game doesn't fill the screen with UI or clutter your view with constant objectives, and that makes the atmosphere hit even harder. There's no music constantly playing in the background. Most of the time, it's just the sound of the wind brushing past cliffs, the gentle tug of your rope, and the soft steps of your climb. It creates this feeling of total isolation, but not in a scary or depressing way. It's meditative. It's the kind of quiet that makes you feel at ease, and that mood is reinforced by how deeply grounded everything feels. The way your character subtly shifts their weight when hanging off a ledge, the rope swaying ever so slightly when the wind kicks up, the dust that lingers in the air as you pass through collapsed ruins. These aren't flashy animations, they're quiet, tactile details that make the world feel present and real even though it's been abandoned for what feels like an eternity. The lighting is also really impressive. Sometimes you'll be climbing through golden, sun-drenched sandstones, and other times you'll be scaling cliffs lit only by bioluminescent plants or shafts of moonlight. It's also dynamic and full of color, but it never screams for your attention. It just kinda exists naturally, like the world has been waiting for someone to come along and truly appreciate it. And despite the fact that you never see another person, the world still feels alive. Vines sway in the wind, insects buzz past your ear, and the ruins whisper stories of the people who used to live there. See, the game doesn't need to tell you this place was once full of life. You feel it, and that quiet sense of wonder carries you all the way up the mountain. And once you're immersed in that world, the climbing starts to click. At first, I won't lie, it feels kinda weird. On the PlayStation, you're using R2 and L2 to control your character's right and left hands individually, which isn't really something most games ask of you. But after maybe 10 minutes, something shifts. It goes from feeling awkward to feeling intuitive. You're actively thinking about where to place each hand, how to shift your weight, when to hold back, and when to lead. And that's where it really separates itself from other games. This isn't Assassin's Creed where you just hold a button and let your character scramble up a wall. Here you're constantly making micro decisions, where to place your next hand and whether to swing across a gap or rappel down and approach from a different angle. There's a real physicality to it. You feel connected to the wall, like every movement matters. Then there's the piton system, which is kinda genius. You can place up to 4 anchor points along the way, and if you fall, the rope will catch you at the last one you placed. So instead of punishing you harshly for messing up, like in Getting Over It, it teaches you how to take calculated risks. It really lets you experiment, and in that way, Jusant is way more of a puzzle game than a traditional climbing game. It's not about not falling, it's about figuring out how to reach the next ledge. And the way the game plays with momentum never stops feeling satisfying. See, the rope itself isn't just safety, it's a tool. You can rappel down, swing to new surfaces, and even shift your position sideways to reach handholds you couldn't otherwise get to. You also have to manage your rope length, keep an eye on your stamina, and time your jumps so you don't overextend. And somehow, even with all those moving parts, the game keeps everything feeling calm. You're always in control, there's no rush, no timers, just you and the endless wall. And honestly, that's what makes it feel so personal. The climbing in Jusant isn't just a mechanic, it becomes a rhythm, a kind of flow state, one button for each hand, one movement at a time, until you reach the next ledge and pause to catch your breath. It's simple, but it's just so brilliant. But Jusant isn't just about climbing, it's about exploration. As you climb, the world slowly begins to open up, not in skill, but in subtlety. You'll start noticing diverging paths, tucked away ledges, mysterious alcoves that you could ignore, but you won't want to. Because Jusant has this really gentle way of making you curious, not by throwing glowing collectibles in your face, but by placing things just out of reach. But here's where it really gets smart. Your little companion, this adorable blue creature that rides in your backpack, is not just cute, it's your guide, and it's one of the game's best design choices. It doesn't speak, it doesn't break silence, but it sings, and when it does, the world around you reacts. Hidden paths emerge, long forgotten routes twist open, and new routes appear that didn't seem possible a second ago. It's magical, but in the quietest, most grounded way possible. Even more importantly, your companion gives you a kind of unspoken direction. Red rings in the air mark the path forward, and blue rings show you where optional paths or collectibles might be. It might sound like a small thing, but if you're like me and you love to explore everything before pushing forward, this is a godsend. It gives you the freedom to truly explore without the anxiety of accidentally heading towards the next main objective before seeing what was down the other path. And because of that, exploration never feels like a chore. You're not just ticking boxes, you're following your own curiosity. One second you're pushing forward toward the top, and the next you're detouring to an abandoned dwelling filled with dust and silence, and maybe another letter that adds a new layer to the story. And all of this is possible because of how well the levels are designed. Each area feels handcrafted, carefully layered. There's no wasted space, no artificial padding. Instead, it's like every climb, every side path, every hidden ledge has a purpose. Some routes are narrow and tense, others are wide and open, and just when you think you've seen it all, the game introduces something new. A sand-covered ruin, a frozen cliffside, or a wind tunnel that threatens to push you off course. But what ties it all together is the pacing. The game never rushes you. There's no sprint button, no minimap. It's just you, your companion, your rope, and the quiet hum of the world around you. It's exploration, not for loot, XP or gear, but for curiosity and understanding of the world. Jusant has 6 chapters, and each of them introduces a new environmental twist. In one area, you might be contending with powerful gusts of wind, forcing you to time your movement carefully or cling tight to the wall until the storm passes. In another, you'll be navigating sun-baked caverns where your rope length becomes a lifeline. Some areas are bone dry and exposed, while others are damp, dark, and echoing with water. Each chapter has its own rhythm and its own set of rules, but what they all have in common is that they never feel repetitive. Jusant could have coasted on its core climbing system. Instead, it keeps evolving in subtle ways that make you think just a little differently each time. But what I really love is that the game isn't about twitch reflexes. Jusant doesn't want you to race to the top. It wants you to think, to breathe, and to observe. The game's biggest challenges aren't life or death moments, they're quiet, internal ones. Figuring out how to reach that one ledge, managing your stamina when you've overcommitted, learning when to rest, when to risk, and when to just look around. There's a quiet kind of magic to the world building. There are no flashy cutscenes, no voice acting, no flashy exposition dumps. It's just you, the tower, and whatever remnants this forgotten civilization's left behind. And yet it still manages to tell one of the most compelling stories I've experienced in a while. Cause in Jusant, the world is the story. As you climb, you'll come across old homes carved into rock faces, sun-bleached temples, abandoned rope systems, each one suggesting that people once lived here. That they didn't just survive, they built, they sang, they worshipped, and eventually they disappeared. You're not told why they disappeared, there's no narrator guiding you along. Instead, you piece it all together yourself, through scattered letters, journals, and carvings gently tucked into the environment. Some are simple daily logs, others hint at major events, and as you read them, you start connecting the dots. I'm not going to reveal any of the stories, since what I truly loved about the game was piecing together what this world was and what this whole journey was even about. It's the kind of environmental storytelling that only works when a studio has complete confidence in the world, and that's what makes it so effective. The world feels lived in, but long gone, like you're wandering through someone else's memories uninvited, but welcome. Even the architecture tells stories. You'll pass crumbled aqueducts, deserted grain silos, and spiritual totems left behind like someone hoped they'd be remembered. There's a real logic to how everything is placed, like a real culture once existed here with values, rituals, and fears. And it's not just about the big picture either. Some of the most emotional moments are small, like a note from someone who chose to stay behind, or a quiet message from someone who simply misses their granddad. And what I love most is how all of this feeds back into climbing. As you move through each new area, you're not just solving traversal puzzles, you're stepping deeper into a narrative that's built into the rocks, the ruins, and the silence. The higher you climb, the clearer the story becomes, until you start to realize that this isn't just a physical journey, it's a spiritual one too. It's world building that respects the player, that trusts you to look around, to wonder and to care, and it turns what could have been a quiet climbing sim into something much more profound. Even the soundtrack plays into that feeling. The music never overwhelms you, it shows up exactly when you need it to. When the sun crests over a ledge, when the wind picks up, or when you've reached a new height and look back at just how far you've come. But most importantly, Jusant doesn't overstay its welcome. I really took my time exploring everything I came across, and I still reached the summit in just under 7 hours. And by the time I reached the top, I wasn't ready for it to end. But that's kind of the point, cause what Jusant offers isn't something you need to stretch across 40 hours. It says what it wants to say, it lets you feel what it wants you to feel, and then it lets go, like a long exhale at the end of a climb. In terms of value, I think it really depends on what you're looking for. If you're after a high-octane action game or something with endless replayability, this isn't that. But if you value atmosphere, creativity, and a deeply meditative experience, Jusant is absolutely worth your money. I will say there is some light replayability baked in. If you miss some collectibles, or if you want to re-experience certain chapters with a fresh perspective, the game does make it easy to revisit specific areas. But what surprised me most though, is just how much this quiet little climbing game stayed with me after I put it down. I honestly really didn't expect Jusant to leave such a mark on me. It's quiet, it's subtle, it never demands your attention, but it earns it all the time. This isn't a game that tries to impress you with big budget set pieces or flashy mechanics. It doesn't flood you with dialogue or constant objectives. Instead, Jusant trusts you to slow down, to breathe, to look around. And in that space, it manages to say something far more meaningful than most games shouting at full volume. And that's not gonna be for everyone, and that's okay. But if any part of this video resonated with you, if you're the kind of player who enjoys slower paced, introspective experiences, or if you're just looking for something that feels different, then I genuinely think Jusant is worth playing. It knows exactly what kind of game it is, and it doesn't try to be anything else. By the time you reach the summit, you'll have your own understanding of the game, your own sense of closure. It's the kind of ending that lingers with you, leaving you with a sense of appreciation for the real world, and an understanding of just how much the people of this barren wasteland had to endure. If you played it already, I'd love to hear what you thought. Drop a comment and let's talk about your experience, favorite moments, or even what the ending meant to you. And if you haven't played it yet, maybe give it a shot. Just boot it up some evening, throw on a pair of headphones, and let the climb pull you in. But if you're in the mood for something more action-packed, click on the video on screen to find out why The Finals is the best FPS game ever released. Critically, out.